This conference will now be recorded.
So what we have done in previous session is like we have created the trial account, and now we are discussing about the object hierarchy, right? So what are the objects that we can create in Snowflake, right? So if you see this diagram we have discussed yesterday, the high level container is your account, Snowflake account. Yes. So your Snowflake account, and inside this you can create multiple objects, right? So let me show you what we have done yesterday. Okay, so we have seen we can create a database. Okay, we can create a database, and inside that we can create schemas. So what database is like a big box, and inside that you'll have small containers here. So to logically separate the data from different sources, we'll create schemas inside a database, right? So if you see here, this is your database. DB1 is your database, or DBT your database, and inside database you'll have schemas, and inside schemas you'll have tables or all other low level objects. So that's what in this diagram we have shown, right? So first you'll have a database, you'll have a schema. Inside schema, you can create the low level objects like tables, views, stages, stored procedures, user defined functions, external tables, right? There are multiple other objects that you can create. So we are going to discuss everything here actually. Okay. After that, we have seen what is user and role. Okay, so if a developer or tester joined in my team, they need a username and password to log in into your account, right? So we have created a user, and we have given password to him like developer 1, developer 2, developer 3. Now, what is role here? Role is set of privileges. So let's say I want to give same level of privileges to every developer. So instead of giving individual permissions to each user, like developer 1, developer 2, developer 3, and create a single role, and that role will be granted to all the users, right? So that's what we have seen. And after that, we also seen what is the roles, what are the different kinds of role offered by Snowflake. So there are some predefined roles offered by Snowflake. So what are those roles? So we have seen we have these blue colored boxes that are offered by Snowflake here. Okay, account admin, security admin, system admin, user admin, and public here. And we have seen account admin is a super user kind of role who will have access to everything. Like he has elevator privileges in your account, so he can do anything. Like if you want to share the data to other account, also you can do that with account admin here. Okay, so that level of access you will have with account admin role actually, but this account admin role cannot be granted to everyone in your team generally. So only 1 or 2 persons will be having this account admin level access. Okay, and we have seen sysadmin, right? So what sysadmin can do? What sysadmin can do? This role. What is the purpose of sysadmin? What are the roles? I mean, what operations he can achieve? Okay, so sysadmin can create a database. He can create a schema and all the low-level objects, or they can create a virtual warehouse. So that's what we discussed yesterday. I've shown you by creating some database here. I think DB1. Yeah, DB1 is created yesterday, right? DB2. Okay, maybe this is a different. Yeah, this is a different account I'm using now. Okay. Yeah. So so you can create a database. You can create a schema. You can create a virtual warehouse. So you can create multiple things. Okay. So using the system administrator. And what security admin can do? A security admin can create a user and a customized role and assign that role to the user. Okay, so see here now, I will change my role to security admin. Okay, so let me log in into my account is. I think this is the old account I'm using. I think we have, this is the latest account we have created, right? Yeah, this is the one. Let me close the old account. this is the worksheet we have used. Yeah. So see here, yesterday what I have done by using the system administrator role. So here we'll choose the role, right? And here I'm creating a database using the system administrator role. So create database DB2 and sorry, DB1 actually we have created, and inside DB1 I have created a schema also. So if you see DB1, I have created schema 1, and inside schema 1 I have created a table called employee using sysadmin. So whenever I point to that particular object, you are going to see the owner as sysadmin. Here also the owner is sysadmin. Here also the owner is sysadmin, right? So a sysadmin can create a database schema and the low level objects like tables, views, stages, and also we can create a virtual warehouse also. So I have created a warehouse called development warehouse here, right? This is the syntax for creating a virtual warehouse. So you know what is a virtual warehouse, right? It's the computing power given by Snowflake. So I have created a large virtual warehouse and I have explained these parameters, right? Right. So this is the responsibility of your system administrator. So one thing that you need to observe here is any object that you create, the owner of the object, who is the owner of the object here? Sysadmin, right? So it is not like the role, sorry, not like the user who is owning this object. It is the role that is owning the object. So I logged in with one user like Vinod Kotkona, right? So this is my user, but it is showing the owner as a role. So with which role I am creating, that will become the owner of that particular object. Okay. In Snowflake, the access control mechanism is called role-based access control, RBAC. Okay. So any object that you create, so the owner will be a role, not a user. It's not like other databases. Okay. So that is the difference you need to observe here, right? So here the owner will be sysadmin, not Vinod Kothakonna. Here the owner will be sysadmin. Here the owner will be sysadmin. Okay. Yeah. So this is the responsibility or the privileges that sysadmin have here. Okay. So if I want to do this with security admin, you cannot do that because sysadmin only designated to do this. Let's say you want to create a new database. When I run this query, it will say object does not exist or operation cannot be performed. So it is saying your operation cannot be performed because you're using security admin role. Okay, so security admin role cannot use this, I mean, cannot create a database here. Okay, so cannot create a database here. Okay, right. Till here, any questions, guys? Maybe yesterday's session. Okay, now, so let us go to security admin role. So what is security admin role? They are defining here. Security admin role is a role that can manage any object grant globally, as well as create, monitor, and manage users and roles. See here, users and roles. Okay, so yes, this sysadmin is taking care of these boxes: database, schema, warehouse, and these users and roles are taken care by your security admin here. Okay, so let's go and create a user. Okay, using security admin. Okay, so now I'm going to create a user. Create user, right? I'll give user 1 and I can give the password. Password equal to 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I am creating a new user here. Let's say one guy joined in my team, I'm creating a new user. So I can do that with security admin here. Okay. Okay, here there is a dev who does not have access. Let me refresh this. Or else I'll open a new worksheet and choose my role freshly. Okay, now I am going to create user. Okay, user 1, password. I'm giving a password. Test 1, 2, 3. Right, user 1 is created. Okay, user one created successfully. Now I can log in with this user one. Okay, so go and log in with this URL. So for that I need to open incognito window. When creating, you did not selected any warehouse. Yeah, good question. Right, because that does not need any computing power. It is not retrieving any data actually. So that's the reason you don't need a warehouse to create a user. Only for the select queries and the copy into statements and the insert queries, delete queries. So those kind of DML statements, you need a warehouse. But for creating a user, you don't need a computation power to, here you're not retrieving any data. So you don't need a warehouse here. So I have intentionally done that. Whether you're observing or not. Yeah, so correct. So for creating a user, you don't need a warehouse here. Now, yes, because the statement got failed. With security admin, the virtual warehouses are created by your sysadmin, right? And this security admin does not have access to that warehouse. So that's the reason it has failed. Okay. So who is the owner of the warehouse? Yesterday I have created with sysadmin. Security admin cannot access that. Okay. Right. So let's log in with this user. Yeah, you'll see the access things. Okay, now I logged in with user one, guys. And what is the role it is showing? Public. I did not assign any role to him. It is showing public. So if you see in this diagram, there is a role, there is a low level role called public given by Snowflake. So if you simply create a user, this public role will be assigned to him. Okay, and let's say if you're giving, let's say I'm giving employee table read access to this public role, that means everyone in your account can read that table. So let's say there are some common tables that you want to share with everyone. Just give the public role. Okay, they give the access to public role so that everyone will have this role. Okay, everyone in your team will have this public role by default. Okay, so that is the purpose of your public role here. Okay, so now I'm opening a worksheet here. So this is brand new. Okay, so if you see databases here, this guy does not have any new databases that I have created, right? I have DB1 here. There is another database Snowflake, but this new user is only having the sample data. Okay, the sample data will come to everyone, but he does not have access to any other database. Okay, and he does not have access to any warehouse also. He does not have a warehouse. Okay, so we'll see how to give the access. Right now, I have created a user with security admin. Right, I can also create my own role called custom role with your security admin. So I'll say create role and call it as role one. Simply role one. Okay, then just I will create this role and I want to attach this role to this user. So how I can do that? Using the grant statement. Grant role one to user one. Right. So now you can go and see this particular role will be attached to this user here. So previously it was only public. Right. It was only public. So here it should show the new role. Let me refresh. See here, role one is coming now. Okay, it's an empty role I have created, but now he can see the role one here. Okay, so I can choose role one here. Okay, so a security admin can create a user, a role, and they can give the access to that role to the user. Okay, this you cannot do with sysadmin. So if I change it to sysadmin, so sysadmin, let's say I want to create a new user, user two. So it will say insufficient privileges to operate on account. So you don't have the privilege to create a user with sysadmin. So security admin only need to do that. Okay. Right, guys? So now you understood the difference between sysadmin and security admin. Or any questions here? Okay. Yeah. So let's go back to account admin. So I told you account admin has the privileges of your system admin and has the privileges of your security admin, both. Okay. So let us create all these objects with account admin now. Okay. Let us create a database. Let us create a schema. Let us create a table. Let us create a warehouse. Let us create a user and role with account admin. So now we did with two different roles. Now I will do with single role. Okay. That is also possible here. So let me show you that. Right. So first I am creating a role called OLAP RW. So OLAP means online analytical processing, RW to indicate it's a read write role. And I can give the comment. Okay, comment, read and write role. And I'm creating another user called developer and giving the password. And see here, what is this default role parameter? So this default role parameter indicates as soon as you log in to your user interface, which role should be displayed here. So that role will be your default role. Okay, whether you should display public or whether I should display the role I have created assigned. So that will be determined by your default role. Okay, so for the user, this is the default role I am giving. And after that, you need to explicitly grant the role to the user that we have already done. Okay, so let us call this as a demo user. I think developer one we have already created. Okay, so now I am doing this with account admin role, because account admin is a super user who is having sysadmin plus security admin plus some extra privileges. So till now we have done something with sysadmin, like creating the databases and schemas, and we have done something with security admin, creating the roles and users. And now we are combining both works of those two roles in the account admin. Okay, so let us create this first. Again, I am doing the same thing which I have done with security admin. Now I am doing with account admin. So account admin can do anything here. So let us remove this and choose your role as account admin. Okay. Now see here. First I am creating a role on a RW, and I am creating a user called demo user, and I am granting this particular user to this role to demo user. Okay. So now go and see here. I log in with that particular user. So first I will log out from here. So what is the username? Demo user, right? Demo underscore user, and then password. Now see which role will be displayed by default. See, OLAP RW. So previously when I have created the other user, it was displaying public, right? So now this particular user have two roles. See here, a user can have two roles or multiple roles. He has OLAP RW and public. But by default, OLAP RW will be selected because I mentioned take OLAP RW as the default role. Okay. So when I click on these databases, he will only see the Snowflake sample data. So he does not see any other databases. So sample data is given access to everyone. Okay. So the Snowflake sample data is provided by Snowflake. Okay. He doesn't have any access to any of the databases that we have created here, or any of the warehouses that we have created here. See here. So no warehouse is created, nothing. No warehouse access. Yeah. Now what I will do is I'll create a database. I'll create a schema. I'll create a virtual warehouse first. Okay, so we'll create a dev warehouse, or we'll call it as test warehouse, because dev warehouse is already existing. Okay. Yeah, dev warehouse is already existing. Let us call this as test warehouse. right? So now I'm going to create a warehouse. I'm going to create a database. I'm going to create a schema. I'm going to create a table using account admin. So previously, which role we have used for this? Which role guys we have used?
Sysadmin.
Sysadmin, yeah. So now we are doing it with account admin also. Okay. So I'm creating a database and creating a schema called landing inside it, and I'm creating a table, right? So if I refresh this, you'll see everything in the left hand side here. Okay, test is the database, the owner is account admin. Okay, and landing is the schema, owner is account admin, and tables T1, owner is account admin. And also we have created a warehouse called test warehouse, which is selected here now. Okay, so now I have done the security admin tasks and system administrator task with a single account admin role. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, we have account admin role for this particular guy. So this is the user ID I am using, and he has a role account admin, right? Now I'm going to create another user. I have created already another user, demo user, and which role he is having? OLAP underscore RW, right? He is having OLAP underscore RW. OLAP underscore RW. So now this particular account admin created some objects. We have created one database called test, right? We have created some database called test, and we have created some schema called landing. This is schema, and we have created a table called T1. Let us call this table as T1. And we also created a virtual warehouse, the computing power, called test warehouse. Okay, so let us indicate it with this test warehouse. So for all this, the owner is account admin, right? Okay, the owner is account admin for all these four objects: your database, your schema, your table, and your warehouse. Okay, so owner is account admin. If you see in the user interface, it will clearly show you. Okay, so owner for this test database is account admin, and for schema also account admin, for table also account admin. Now what I'm going to do here is, let me close this. What I'm going to do here is, this OLAP RW does not have any access to these objects. Now I want to give object, I want to give the access one by one here. Okay, so first I want to give the access to this warehouse so that he can execute some queries. Okay, so I'm putting data blend because I want to give some access to him. Okay, now see here, let's say this particular guy, okay, demo user, want to run some query, like from the sample data, he want to see what is the call center data. Okay, so when I say place name in editor, it will copy the table name here. So he want to see select star from call center data. So it is trying to run the query, but it is saying no active warehouse selected in the current session. Select an active warehouse with the use warehouse command. So either you can use warehouse command, or you can choose the warehouse from here. But there is no warehouse to him. Okay, no warehouse is allotted to him. Just I have created the warehouse, but I did not allot this warehouse to, I did not give access on this warehouse to this role. So how you can do that, right? So the first privilege that I'm going to give is grant usage on the warehouse, test warehouse to role OLAP RW. So if I give this particular grant from my account admin role, okay, so if I give that particular grant from the account admin role, that guy can use the warehouse. Okay, now see here, I have granted it. So go here. Now just refresh. You should get it. Sometimes you'll get it. Yeah. See here. You got the test warehouse. I have given access now. Okay. So just you now submit the query, you choose it and you submit the query, you'll see the result here. Right? So now you got the computation power, right? So now I gave the usage access. Because I gave the usage access on this particular warehouse, he's able to run the warehouse. Okay. Now see here, this warehouse is running as soon as I submitted the query. Let's say I want to suspend this warehouse. I don't want to run now. I don't need it. So if I want to do that, I need to execute a command called alter warehouse suspend. Okay. So let us try to execute this from demo user or OLAP RW role. We'll see whether this role has access to suspend this virtual warehouse. Okay. So alter warehouse test underscore warehouse and then suspend. So let us try to do this. Right. So it is saying insufficient privileges to operate on warehouse. So this OLAP RW role does not have the privileges to suspend this. Still it is running. So now if I want to give that particular access, I need to give another privilege. Okay. Right. So what is the other privilege to suspend your warehouse is operate. Okay. So operate is the privilege that you need to give so that you can suspend or resume the warehouse. Right. So now I'm giving this privilege. So you can go and now immediately suspend this warehouse. See, it is executed successfully, and if you see, it is suspended here. Okay, and if you want to resume also, you can resume it. I will say resume explicitly because he got the operate privilege now. Okay, so it is switched on again, right? So in order to operate, I mean, in order to resume or suspend the warehouse, you need to have the operate privilege. Now, the third privilege on the warehouse is this is a large virtual warehouse. I want to modify the size of this particular virtual warehouse. So you don't have the option to edit this warehouse now. Okay, the size of the warehouse. Okay, so if you want to get that particular access, you need to give the modify privilege from the account admin role. Okay, so the third privilege on the warehouse is modify. Right, grant modify on the warehouse test warehouse to role OLAP RW. So now you can go and modify the size here. Okay, let me refresh. You can do it with command or you can do it from user interface also. See here, now you are getting a drop down. So I don't need a large virtual warehouse. I will make it extra small. Simply it will change to extra small. See? Okay, so you can now modify the size of the virtual warehouse. You can start and stop the virtual warehouse. You can use the virtual warehouse to run the queries here. So now what I have done here is I have given 3 privileges on this test warehouse to OLAP RW. So what are they? I have given usage plus monitor plus modify. But still the ownership of this particular warehouse is with account admin only. Still the owner is account admin, but you have only these privileges. This OLAP RW has these 3 privileges on this particular object here. Okay. Now clear guys, are any questions on this?
Can sysadmin also do the thing what account admin did?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Can sysadmin also do the same things what account admin did?
Yeah, I told you sysadmin can create a warehouse, database, schema, and other objects. So these things can be done by sysadmin. Okay.
Oh, I mean, sorry, security admin. I mean,
No. Security admin can do only this part, creating the users and roles, custom roles, and just assigning the roles to the user.
So anytime they have to grant privileges, only account admin then.
Yeah, if you want to club both the functionalities of sysadmin and security admin, yeah, you can do that with accounting. But another thing is, let's say I have created development warehouse with sysadmin, or let's say I have created this database one with sysadmin. Now, if you want to give access on this database one, sysadmin can do that. So to OLAP RW, you want to give access on database one. So who is the owner of database one? Sysadmin. So now sysadmin can grant the access on the database, or maybe he has created one warehouse called dev warehouse. So dev warehouse owner is sysadmin. So now sysadmin can give this grant access. Okay. So
Then
if you are owner of, yeah.
what is the use of the user admin?
Yeah, user admin has some subset, I mean, a child role of security admin. I'll tell that later. Okay.
Okay.
So he has some less privileges compared to security admin. Very rarely we use that. Okay. So first let us understand these three tools: sysadmin, security admin, and account admin. Okay. So security admin can perform these stuff, creating roles and users. Sysadmin can do a warehouse, database, schema, and table. And account admin can do combinedly. So that's the reason your account admin did all the things together. Okay. Right. Any other questions, guys? Okay. So
one question, this is Kuladeep here. So the schema and the tables that you have created, right? You can provide those to, I mean, we should be able to access those with your, if we can connect to your schema, right?
Yes, yeah. The next step is that now, let's say you joined in my team, and you are the demo user. You are having these credentials. Now this database schema you want to access. So now I am going to give this access to you. Okay. So how that is done? Yeah, I'll tell you. So we have some special privileges on database now. So we are going to discuss this part.
Okay. And how do we decide like which part of the URL is the schema or the network that we are connecting?
You cannot decide the schema and all. Just you need to remember this number TD38347, right? So when you get the account, so this indicates your account ID. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And
that's the main thing.
Exactly. That is the unique number given to every account.
Okay.
Okay. And this is the region. Let's say now I'm operating on the AWS. So this is a data center, AP Southeast one. It is in Singapore. Like while selecting the thing, so it will show there. Right?
Okay.
Dot snowflakecomputing.com we have. So account ID dot region dot snowflakecomputing.com.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Okay. So now let's discuss about the database level privileges. Okay. So we discussed he got the warehouse. Okay. So this new guy got the warehouse, but he does not get the access to the databases I have created. So I have created a database called test here with account admin, right? So test is my database name, right? So let's say I want to, who is the owner of this test? Account admin, right? Now I want to give access to this particular database. So now you need to grant some permissions. So grant. So the first permission is similar to your warehouse. Grant usage on database test to role OLAP underscore RDP. Right? Now I am giving the database level privilege. So now this guy can simply see the database. That's it. He cannot do anything. He can see the database. It doesn't mean that you get the access to all the schemas inside the database. Okay. Just you can choose the database. I mean, you can see the database here. When I expand this, you'll only see that particular schema here. Okay. So you don't see all other schemas. Only information schema, that is the metadata schema, you'll see here. You did not get access to any other schemas like public or landing. You won't get by default. Okay. Just I have given the usage access so that you can see that database here, and you can also choose the database here. So if you see here in this drop down, you need to choose the database. So here it is showing test now. Okay. Okay, but there is no schema. There is no schema for him. Okay, no other schemas. So we'll see the schema level privileges also. But first, in order to just see the database, you need to give the usage privilege on the database. Okay, and the next privilege is modify. So what is this modify privilege on the database? So let's say I want to just modify the comment of the database. So for any database, you will have some comments. Actually, you can create with some comments. Okay, so while creating the database test, I gave the comment as test environment. So you can see that comment here. When I point it here, it is showing the comment as test environment. Let's say I want to modify this particular property of the test database. Okay, so I want to do it from account admin. Sorry, from OLAP admin. So now what I can do here is alter database test. Okay, set comment equal to this database is created for demo. So I want to change this comment. Okay, so now I am executing this. So if you want to modify some property of your database, not only comment, there are some other properties like time travel, retention period, and all. So if you want to modify any property of the database, you need to have a modify privilege on the database. Okay, so similar to your virtual warehouse, there is another privilege on the database called modify. Okay, so if I give this privilege to that OLAP RW, now this guy can successfully execute this command so that the comment will be modified. See here, statement successfully executed. So when I see the comment here for the test database, it should be modified here. Okay, so now this database is created for demo. You are seeing that comment. Okay, so that is the second privilege on your database. Okay, what is the third privilege is your monitor. Okay, so monitor is to describe the database. Okay, so what is describing a database? So let's say when I describe the database here in account admin, it will show some details, some when the schema is created, when what is the kind of the schema, and also when I say describe or DESC, you can say database test. So account admin is able to describe the database, and it is showing what is the schema, right? What is the schema name, when it is created, and all these details it is giving. The same command, if this particular OLAP RW want to execute, yes, we have grant all. Yeah, I'll tell you that we have grant all. Instead of individual, you can give the all keyword so that it will give the all grants in one statement. Okay, I'll show you that. So this guy does not have the privileges to do this. So in order to get this particular privilege to describe the database, you need to have this monitor privilege, right? When I give this monitor privilege, you'll get that particular describe database access. See, but this guy only have information schema, no other schemas. So you are able to describe it. Okay. Now the fourth privilege is, let's say I want to create a schema inside this particular test. Okay. So let's say I want to run this command, create schema test.demo. So inside test, I'm trying to create a schema. But who is the owner of test? The owner of test is account admin. I'm trying to create in his database. Okay. Now, if you want to create a schema inside a database, you need to get an extra privilege called create schema. Okay. So instead of monitor, just simply you can say grant create schema on database test to role OLAP RW, so that this particular schema can be created here. Okay, so now if we refresh, okay, so inside this test, you'll have a schema called demo, which is created by OLAP RW. So now the owner is OLAP RW case, because the schema is created by OLAP so he will have every access on your demo. Okay, so these are the database level privileges. Okay, so just have given 4 privileges now on the test database. So what are they? Like usage, modify, monitor, and create schema. Okay, so now this guy got the access to this database, but he did not get the schema. Okay, he did not get the schema or table. Okay, so I will be discussing the privileges and schema and tables in tomorrow's session. Okay, so till here, you people have any questions? The warehouse and database level privileges.
One thing, I mean, would the data scientist would have to do these, or there will be a system admin who will be doing them, right?
Administrator. Yeah, administrator will be doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I understand you're trying to explain the steps, what all we need to have, and for us, when we want to work on the Snowflake schema, it's helpful for us.
Exactly. Even though you are not working as an administrator, let's say you are getting some access issue, at least you should be able to explain, like, I'm getting this access issue. Please grant this permission on this object, something like that. You need to raise a ticket, right? So,
yep.
You need to be very careful in this, because in the certification, let's say if you want to write a certification also, this topic is really important. This is all admin stuff that we are discussing.
Yep.
Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, so as a data engineer, are we going to be doing more programming as opposed to this administration?
Yeah, as a data engineer, your stuff is like a developer guy. So all these things are set up for you. You need to responsible for building the pipelines, data pipelines. Okay, so what is the data pipeline? Like getting the data from source, ingesting into Snowflake, transforming the data, and making it available for the data scientists and data analysts, the visualization engineers. So scheduling the jobs. Okay, maybe data validation stuff, like when the data is migrated from source to target, whether it has migrated all the data properly. So how you are going to validate. So most of your work will be writing SQL statements, stored procedures, maybe sometimes some Python scripting, and debugging some data issues, working with scheduling tools, ETL tools. So this is the data engineer activity.
Right. So like Golden Gate and ETL, right?
Exactly.
Like data.
Yeah, that's a data replication tool. Yeah.
Replication.
We have
Yeah.
multiple tools in the market. Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions, guys? Yeah. Okay. So we'll meet tomorrow. Then I'll complete the other stuff, the schema and the table level privileges. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So use cases of Snowflake. Yeah, I'm going